Alright, how's it going, class? This is Mr. Miles coming at you again, and right now what I'm going to be doing is I will be bringing you a podcast with, this is the last one for the chapter right before we have the test, and this is going to cover all the different groups that fit under vertebrates. Last time we talked about their main overall characteristics, but now we're going to dive into their groups. So the first one we're going to be introduced to when we're talking about the vertebrates is the fishes. And you should be very familiar with fish. You know that they breathe through their gills. They use fins to move. They're also ectotherms. They're not endotherms, they're ectotherms. They have scales and they live in the water. Now, the three major groups, the three major subgroups we're going to be introduced to is the jawless fish. Also, we're going to be introduced to the cartilaginous fish. I hate that one. I have such a hard time pronouncing it. It's like a tongue twister. That's a nice long name. And the last one is going to be the bony fish. Oops, not an E. There's no E there. So I am not an English teacher. I'm a terrible speller. Bony fish. Let's talk about each of these. Now, when we're talking about jawless fish, obviously we know what a jaw was. Or what a jaw is. I'm using my jaw right now, and that's the part that opens and closes the mouth. Well, you have two different types of fish that don't have that. You have the lampreys, and then you're also going to have the hagfish. And so again, as always, you guys should have your books open up to page 158. We're on 159 right now, but have it open. You can see there's the picture of the lamprey right there, and it has no jaw. You can see it just has the open part of its mouth, and you can see all the teeth inside of it. The next one we're going to get is we're going to get cartilaginous fishes. Now, these are going to be like your sharks. So if you take a moment and you take a hold of your ear and you can move it, you notice that that's made out of cartilage. It's not made out of bone. It actually is flexible, and these fish are made out of that flexible material, and they don't have the tough, rigid bones like we do. Now, it is rigid enough to give them structure like a shark. Because as you can see, they're not gooey, they're not like jellyfish. They have structure to them, but they don't have bones like we do. They have cartilage, which makes up their body. And the last one, you're going to get bony fish. And these are going to be the things that you have. The one we used in here was the perch. Just the ones that have like the skeletons that we would be familiar with. Also, if you look on that picture, you can also see that there's a goldfish, and that also is a bony fish. So moving on from fishes, we then run into amphibians. And amphibians, simply what it means is it means double life. Meaning it has a life in the land and it has a life in the water. And now you may say, well, what about a turtle? A turtle's not an amphibian, but it has a double life. It lives in the land and water. Well, not the same. When we're talking about the water, we're talking about it needs to go into the water to reproduce. It lays its eggs in the water, and the offspring will be born in the water. If you look at a turtle, it actually lays it on land, and then they go into the water, when we're dealing with the sea turtles. So amphibians, they lead the double life where they reproduce inside the water. They also don't have scales, and what they can do is they're able to breathe partially through their skin. And again, we talked about how this is a huge problem for amphibians because there's a particular type of fungus that likes to grow on certain amphibians, and it is actually killing them off because, again, if you block off an amphibian's ability to breathe, it's going to die. And so if you're blocking off its skin, it can't breathe. Sorry, I kind of said that backwards. Now, the next group we're going to run into is we're going to run into the reptiles. Now, the reptiles are going to get four groups. We are going to get the crocs, so that's crocodiles, alligators. You're going to get the lizards. We're also going to run into I was going to put amphibians, the turtles, and this includes your tortoises. And the last one is the, oh my goodness, I'm drawing brain farts here, the snakes. So these are the ones you're going to get. All of these are going to be ectotherms, because you'll see lizards basking under the light, and we used to be able to see my geckos basking under the light until one decided to eat the other one, and they killed each other Fun times. But no, they're all ectotherms. They have scales, and it's just important to know these 4 groups that fit underneath reptiles. Now the next one we move on to is birds, boids. So you have birds. This is where we're first introduced to the endotherms. These are warm-blooded. They lay eggs with a hard shell. So birds, you guys know an awful lot about them. You know that an owl, a falcon, a pelican, a penguin, these are all going to be birds. Simple stuff. The chapter doesn't go too in-depth in them. So we will move on. See, that was an easy little section, huh? Now the next one, they go a little bit more in depth. We're going to be dealing with mammals. Mammals are so named because they have, I'm going off the line, mammary glands. And these mammary glands will produce milk. And so this is going to be your nipple or udder for different animals, or you can have like the duck-billed platypus where it just actually sweats out the milk and the offspring take it off of the fur. Now, in the mammal groups, again, we're going to get subgroups just like we had in a few of the other animals we dealt with. You're going to run into the monotremes, the marsupials, and the placental mammals. So let's talk about each of these. So the monotremes, pretty much what these are the ones that lay eggs. That's a terrible picture of an egg. But these ones simply lay eggs. So when you have your duck-billed platypus, Mr. Duck-billed platypus, they lay eggs, making them a monotreme. Now marsupials, you're going to find, is their offspring are actually raised inside of a pouch. And I'm not talking about it gives birth to a fully functioning baby, but the marsupials, they'll still have the embryo, but they'll have the embryo inside the pouch developing. So if the baby were to be taken out of the pouch, it would die. Whereas if you had a human baby, and you had like a bag or something, you put the baby in, to keep it warm. If you take it out, well, it can survive. You don't want to get it cold and give it clothes. But marsupials, they can't survive outside of the pouch until they're fully ready, until they are I don't know, an offspring that can survive out in the environment. So these are going to be your kangaroos, your wallabies, anything with that pouch. Now the last one is the placental mammals, and that's what we fall under. And placental mammals is they will develop entirely inside of the womb, and so then once they're actually done with development, then they will come out of the womb. And this stupid thing will not let me click. Oh, there it goes. Now it's being kind to me. So until it is fully ready, until the embryo is fully developed, it will still be inside the womb. And the thing that's helping transmit the things that the embryo needs is called the placenta. The placenta transmits it between the mother to the baby. So that's what placenta is. So that is my lesson on Chapter 4, Lesson 5, the last one. Get ready, there is a test on Thursday. So take care, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.